Hello children. So let us proceed our chapter Matter in Our Surroundings. And this is going to be the fourth and last lecture of this chapter. So today we will be talking about effect of pressure on various states of matter. So what is the effect of change of pressure on states of matter? Let us see. So if we have a gas in a jar and we are compressing it with the piston. So what we will observe that the gases can be compressed. But what actually happens when we are doing this? You see, suppose there are X number of molecules and they are scattered in certain volume. When we apply pressure, we reduce the volume. So the number of molecules is still the same but they come closer. If we further increase the pressure, the volume decreases further and the same number of molecules are now occupying a very small volume. So, when we apply pressure, we actually compress the matter. And we remember from the various properties of matter that gases are highly compressible. But why is that so? Because gases have a lot of space between its particle which can be reduced by applying pressure. So when we apply pressure, the particles come closer to each other. And thus, if we couple applying pressure with reduced temperature, we can actually liquefy the gases. So if you remember, the liquid state is that state of matter where particles are fairly close to each other as compared to the gaseous state. So if we are applying very high pressure and simultaneously reducing the temperature, we can liquefy certain gases. And a very good example is dry ice. In dry ice, we have taken the carbon dioxide gas not to the liquid stage but to the solid stage, and it is possible at very high pressure and low temperature. And to maintain the solid carbon dioxide or dry ice, we need to maintain those high pressure conditions, otherwise it will evaporate. Remember children, dry ice is a sublimating substance and if we reduce the pressure, it will directly form vapors. So let us summarize. What are these three states of matter? Solid, liquid and gases. And the solid can be converted into liquids. Liquids can be converted into solids. Liquids can also be converted into gaseous phase and gases can convert back into the liquid phase. And then solid can also go to gases. Gases can also come back to solid. And these conversions are a matter of two modulating factors. Those two factors are pressure and temperature. So pressure and temperature determine the state of a substance, whether it will be solid, liquid or gas. And why not children? Let us try to recall from initial lectures that pressure governs the distance between the particles while temperature governs the kinetic energy of the particles of matter, and the distance and kinetic energy are two factors which majorly determine the state of matter as well. So I hope the effect of pressure on various states of matter is clear. Now we will be discussing something very interesting. Let us see these images. So you must have observed that if you kept water uncovered, then after many hours its level will be reduced. Also, if you have spilled some water on the floor or on the kitchen counter, and if you forgot to mop it up, then after some time it disappears on its own. Also, whenever we are washing clothes, we put them for drying in the clothes line, and after few hours they all become very dry. So how these phenomena take place? Well, this is evaporation. And what is evaporation? This is a very interesting phenomena. The phenomena of change of a liquid into vapor at any temperature. So we are not heating things up and below its boiling point. So boiling point will come into picture when we are actually heating things, but we are not heating it. So even then some liquid keeps changing into the vapor phase, and that is known as evaporation. What is the mechanism behind this phenomena? So remember few properties of matter. Particles of matter are always moving. Remember that? Yes. And at any given temperature in any gas, liquid or solid, the particles are not only moving, different particles will be having different amount of kinetic energy, and those having higher energy will be towards the surface if we are talking about liquids. So in case of liquids, a small fraction of those particles at the surface which already have higher kinetic energy will be able to break free. So this bulk was actually the liquid state where the particles were holding each other, but few particles at the surface had already higher energy, and after a certain amount of energy gain they are actually able to break free and they convert into vapor phase. So these few particles are now into the gaseous state of matter, because these particles, due to their higher kinetic energy, were able to overcome the force of attraction. The force of attraction which was holding them together in the liquid stage is now has been overcome now, and the particles are in gaseous stage now. Now this is the mechanism of evaporation. There are various factors, children, which can affect the rate at which any liquid evaporates. So let us talk about them. So what are these factors? First, temperature. Increase in the surface area. So increase in the surface area will increase the rate of evaporation. Increase in temperature, this will also increase the rate of evaporation. So both these factors are actually directly proportional to the rate of evaporation. Then decrease in humidity. So decrease in humidity will increase the rate of evaporation, or increased humidity will decrease the rate of evaporation. So humidity as such is inversely proportional to the rate of evaporation. Then increase in the wind speed. This is also directly proportional, that is increased wind speed will increase the rate of evaporation. Now let us try to strengthen these concepts with some common examples. So increased surface area. So if you put the equal volumes of water in a glass and in a wide bowl, then the water will evaporate faster in the bowl because it has higher surface area. Now, increase of temperature. Look at this. So, if we are passing through a very hot climatic zone and we observe that we are sweating a lot. Why? Because due to this increased temperature, our body is producing sweat at a higher rate, and higher rate of evaporation of that sweat is keeping us cool. Otherwise, we will not survive that much heat. Also, decrease in humidity increases evaporation. So you must have observed that in dry heat months like April or May, we sweat a lot, and that sweat gets evaporated and we feel better. But when it is monsoon season, the humidity is already very high in the climate, and whatever sweat we are producing does not get evaporated, and that's why we feel very restless because our skin is not getting cooled. Now, increase in wind speed. So you must have observed that on a windy day, our clothes dry faster as compared to a still kind of day when there is not much wind speed. So increased wind speed will increase the rate of evaporation. And when it is very windy, you might have observed, or you will have observed now, that you need to water your plants more. So these were the factors which are affecting evaporation. Now we will see that evaporation has certain effect on the surface or the surrounding. So evaporation actually causes cooling of the surrounding. How does it happen? So it is very simple, children. We have talked that higher energy particles which were present at the surface actually break free. So when higher energy particles are gone, now the remaining particles will try to absorb energy from their surroundings to gain higher energy and also break free. So the remaining particles keep absorbing energy and keep going into the gaseous state, and this cycle continues. So if the particles are continuously absorbing energy from the surroundings, that surrounding medium is bound to get colder, because if you add temperature, if you add energy, it will increase the temperature. If you remove energy from the system, it will decrease the temperature. So that is how evaporation causes cooling effect. This absorption of energy from the surrounding makes the surroundings cold. And now let us understand it better with few examples. But first remember that temperature is directly proportional to energy. So if high energy molecules are going away, the temperature is coming down. So applications of evaporative cooling that we observe in our daily lives is, if we pour some amount of acetone, which is actually in the nail polish remover, we will feel that our palm is getting cold. Why? Because acetone evaporates faster, and when it evaporates, the remaining acetone particles absorb energy from our palm, and that's how our palm feels colder. Now, after a very hot sunny day, people sprinkle water on the rooftop so that that water evaporates, leaving the rooftop a bit colder so that it is comfortable to sleep inside that room. Also, we prefer cotton clothes in summertime. Why? Because cotton is a very good absorbing material. So cotton clothes keep absorbing our sweat and keep evaporating it. So we feel much better. If the cloth is not absorbing our sweat, then there will not be enough evaporation and we will feel very restless as we do in polyester or nylon clothes. And the desert cooler, the humble cooler which is present in almost every home during the summer time. So when we switch it on, we also switch on its water pump. That water pump circulates water throughout the side panels of the cooler, and that circulating water is continuously getting evaporated, and the fan fitted in the front is now actually sending us cool air from the panels which have become cool due to evaporative cooling. So these are some of the examples that how evaporation and the cooling resulting from it are very helpful in our daily lives. With this, children, we are concluding this chapter, Matter in Our Surroundings, with a 4 lecture series. I hope the concepts were clear. If not, please go through each and every video once again, and you can also ask me your doubts through messages. Thank you.